Hey everybody, wanted to do a review as to which is the better freeway bike, a 2013 BMW R1200GS or an Aprilia Caponord 1200 2015. I am fortunate enough to own one of each. They're both good bikes. I use them all the time. I'd recommend them. You might ask the question, why on earth would somebody own two bikes that are similar in a lot of ways, to the point that they're both reviewed against one another in adventure bike reviews? And for me, the answer is fairly simple. I live in Southern California where you can ride almost every day. I do ride almost every day, and I have a very long commute, at least in my opinion, 110 miles round trip each day. And I wanted to avoid putting astronomical mileage onto the BMW too quickly, so I got the Caponord to supplement it. At least that's how I justify it to myself. Now on to the business at hand. If you're going to gallop along the freeways for long stints, which indeed is the better steed. Start with basic comfort and ergonomics. Both bikes have a nice upright seating posture. Both have ample room in the cockpit. Both have a nice wide handlebar and provides easy leverage, good handling. But you got to sit on something, and the Aprilia has a much better seat, so advantage Aprilia. Moving on to the windscreen. They both have manually adjustable windscreens. The mechanism on the BMW is flimsier, but can be adjusted while you're on the go. And the one on the Caponord, you've got to be a Chinese acrobat to do that while you're driving. So consequently, I don't. And ultimately, the BMW is a little bit better if less air is what you want. So, advantage BMW. Alright, let's move on to the next category, and that would be large-scale wind protection. By that I mean, how good is the bike at preventing you from getting blown about by huge winds? Both bikes are fairly hefty. They both have fairly low center of gravity, so they both have pretty good inertia. But the Aprilia has a little bit extra heft, and I think aerodynamically is slightly better. So when it comes to resisting freeway winds, especially crosswinds, the advantage there goes to the Aprilia. Okay, what about gas mileage? Okay, this is the only objective category, by the way. The BMW gets 5 miles per gallon better at same relative speeds. You can squeeze about 275 miles out of a tank versus about 215 miles out of a tank on the Aprilia. So the advantage there goes to the BMW. How about handling road surface imperfections? Both bikes do that very well. The Aprilia does have the ADD, the Aprilia dynamic damping, and so therefore the advantage there goes to the Aprilia, although the ADD is not as night and day difference as you might think by reading some other reviews or watching some other videos. Okay. Going to be doing a lot of work on the freeway, you're going to want cruise control, and both bikes have electronic cruise control. Both bikes, the cruise control works really well, but you got to get the bike into cruise control, and the BMW is very easy to activate, and then it works much like one would in a car, whereas the one on the Aprilia is just totally ridiculous. Pain in the ass to activate, so advantage there goes to the BMW. Okay, now how does the engine feel working at speed? Right? From 0 to 65, both bikes are fairly comparable. Pretty smooth engines, not very loud. No real harshness to them. Between 65 and 70, the BMW feels like it's working harder, not struggling, but it feels like it's working harder. It's getting a little vibey, a little rougher, a little harsher, more transmission noise. And the Aprilia is just kind of happy, just kind of cruising. It really likes to be in that zone. Above 75, the BMWs gets harsher to the point where, for me, it's, not intolerable, but certainly not enjoyable. Whereas on the Aprilia, it's still no big thing. It feels like you could, it wants more all the time. So, advantage, Aprilia. Now, if you do a lot of commuting or long distance touring, inevitably you're going to ride at night. So lighting is also an important factor. The BMW has the LED lighting package, which compared to the prior BMW that I had on, the prior version of the GS, is a real significant improvement. It's a really fantastic lighting. And, when I bought the Aprilia, I was expecting, not real great lighting package. However, I was pleasantly surprised. The Aprilia puts out a lot of light in a wide swath. So it's not as bright and narrowly focused as the BMW lighting, but by pure volume it works. However, probably too close to call there, so put a draw into that category. So overall, which is the better freeway bike? Very, very close. Very, very hard to judge. So let's look at freeway riding as, like part of a daily commute versus freeway riding as an occasional long distance tour. For the everyday commute, my selection is the Aprilia. For the long distance tour, my selection is the BMW. Well, still haven't solved it. So what is the tiebreaker? I guess the tiebreaker for me boils down to most people are going to commute a lot more frequently than they will go on long distance tours. So by virtue of the tiebreaker, the king of the freeway between those two bikes is the Aprilia.